Thank you so much for having me here today. I always get so excited about these interdisciplinary events because I think so often we kind of work in our little islands on the issues that we're interested in, and to be able to be a part of something where you've got experts in communication and behavior and technology come together to work towards better solutions. I'm just very happy to be a part of something like that. My name is Jennifer Tapanico. I'm president at Action Research. And we're based in Southern California. We also have an office out here in the New York area. But for the last 10 years, what we've been doing is applying knowledge and insights from social and behavioral sciences to outreach programs that promote clean, healthy, and sustainable communities. And really the foundation for that was this idea that in universities and institutions across the world, across the globe, there's a lot of research being conducted on various tools that we can use to change behavior. But very often these tools are studied and then published or shared at conferences, but not always translated into action or used in the real world. So along with my colleague Wes Schultz, and we at Cal State University, we developed Action Research to help bridge that gap and to make that knowledge about the tools accessible to those on the ground trying to affect real behavior changes in their community. So we all know that environmental issues are very pressing right now. That's why we are all here. And there's a lot of attention right now to these issues. And what we do know about these issues is that at some level their origins of these issues are in human behavior. And there are a number of different ways that people have addressed these problems. Some have been through technology and policy. There's a lot of efforts to develop cleaner energies, alternative fuels, and different types of technologies and policies that we can use to sort of put a quick fix on the problem. But behavior has a clear role in that. Definitely, if there's not support for a policy, it's going to hit a lot more obstacles. If you develop an efficient technology and people don't use it, or they use it incorrectly, we haven't achieved our goal. So behavior is definitely relevant. And many of the solutions that we're going to find to these larger problems will happen only if behavior change occurs. But behavior, is sometimes a scary thing. It's so complex. We as individuals are complex. However, psychologists have studied human behavior for hundreds of years, and there is a vast amount of knowledge about the underlying motivations and cognitive processes that people have, and we do actually know quite a bit about behavior. So I'm here today to talk about what are some of the tools from psychology that we can use in our efforts to motivate environmental activism and to change behavior. And in particular, how do these sort of overlap with some of the new digital tools that are available to us? Now, if you're a mechanic, you have a pretty good instruction guide for which tools to use for a particular job. If you work on an American car, you've got one set of tools. If you work on a German car, you've got another set of tools. And each tool has a specific function for a specific job. And they go to school and they get certifications, know all about that. The same is true in psychology. We have different tools for different kinds of jobs. However, we don't have a real clear roadmap or instructions for when to use each of these tools. What I hope to do today is to provide a new framework for helping to choose some tools, and also begin to talk about how you might overlap that with some of the new digital technologies. So traditionally, the most common and pervasive tool that's been used to promote behavior change is the information-intensive campaign. So these approaches are, let's tell people what to do, let's make them more aware, and let's show them it's in their economic best interests, and deliver that message the right way, then they'll do it. These information-intensive campaigns are basically built on the assumption that people don't act because they don't know what to do, they don't care, or they don't see it's in their financial best interest. So with the knowledge sort of deficit model, we find if we tell them, we give them a fact sheet, we give them a brochure, they will do it. Unfortunately, what the research shows is that very often we know what we're supposed to do, we know what steps to take, but we still don't act. Similarly, with awareness campaigns, these are the campaigns you see that really highlight the severity of the problem. Look at this awful thing that's happening to our planet, you need to act now. A lot of the fear-based campaigns take this approach. And again, although you may have concerns about something or a positive attitude about a particular policy or effort, it doesn't necessarily translate into behavior change. You can have a positive attitude about something and not act. And then lastly, the economic models are also very, very common. If we can just get the interest rate right, if we can just get the tax incentive right, then people will do it. And while these do work for some things, they don't work for all. Having something that's in your financial best interest by itself does not always motivate behavior change. Now, if we look at campaigns worldwide, there are many examples of where a lot of dollars and a lot of effort has gone into increasing knowledge and generating awareness, and they've done that successfully, but they have not led to behavior change. So in Canada, one of the most popular examples is the One-Ton Challenge, where they spent a lot of money doing heavy media advertising across the entire country. And in the evaluations, 51% knew about the program. That's pretty good. That's pretty good penetration for a message. However, there was not very much behavior change associated with that campaign. Similarly, in the state of California, over a decade, $200 million was spent on advertising the Flex Your Power campaign, which promoted simple, one-time, and repetitive behavior changes related to energy conservation. And again, although the campaign is very well known throughout the state, there was little impact on behavior change. So why is that? Well, really, while we can integrate many skills and tools from marketing, what we're doing here, though, is not selling a cheeseburger. We're not taking someone who's already eating cheeseburgers and trying to get them to eat one from Carl's Jr. instead of McDonald's, or drink my coffee instead of their coffee. What we're very often trying to do is motivate people to engage in behaviors that they're not already doing and that are very likely more costly, more difficult, or more time-consuming than the alternative. So it takes a different approach. And one approach that has really gained some traction over the last 10 years is community-based social marketing. And so I'm going to talk primarily about that, not only as a model for behavior change, but in a very recent article, there's been some efforts to use community-based social marketing as a framework for helping us to choose what tools are appropriate for given contexts or for given target populations. So community-based social marketing is based in 100 years of social science research. So while it's only been used for the last decade or so, it's really grounded in a strong theoretical framework. It's community-based in that the decisions that are made about the program are made from the community up. It's the information gathered from the target populations. It focuses on removing barriers to action that are not just knowledge, not just knowing what to do. And then lastly, focuses on outcomes, focuses on changing behavior, not just how many outputs do we do, how many media impressions other people approve of. We care about that stuff, but really so all these tools though, how do we know which ones to use? So what I wanted to make sure, I'm running out of time, but what I want to make sure that I share with you is that there are some strategies for that. So for some behaviors where you've got a lot of benefits, but the barriers are pretty low, simple strategies like education or providing feedback or reminders might work for you. In other cases where, especially if the benefits are really low and the barriers are really high, we're finding that things like incentives or contests, things that motivate people to do kind of one-time big actions, are more effective. So this is from a recent article, actually Wes Schultz in 2013, that really begins to provide a framework. So we can use community-based social marketing to kind of find out where we are in terms of barriers and benefits, and then marry that with the tools that are available and what we know about those before we roll it out across the state or across the country and spend. So community-based social marketing, just to wrap up, is a very versatile tool. It's data-driven at every step, so the information from our target population guides us in our decisions along the way, helps us to choose what tools are most appropriate. In this example, this is one locally near our office, City of Oceanside. They had a pet waste problem. And to the city, the problem was the law. Pick it up because it's the law and it's bad for your health. But when we talked to our target audience, they didn't pick up pet waste on this bike trail because of the social, or because they didn't have a bag, and they were more motivated by social responsibility or to prevent, to help protect water quality. So we kind of changed out the signs, made it a nice, simple, easy to remember message,
made it look easy to do instead of this guy, I don't even know, that does not look very comfortable at all. People didn't care that it was the law. So we simplified it and highlighted those messages that were important to them, but not just the message. We needed to also focus on the structural impacts and other barriers. They needed a bag.
But if nobody's
So that's it. I know I'm out of time, but again, just tons of examples of successes in community-based social marketing. And now we're finally having some guidance for when to use these different tools.
Consider that behaviors vary a lot.
Sometimes they're more repetitive over time. And each of these behaviors vary in cost, difficulty, and other obstacles. So recycling your food waste, for example, comes with different obstacles than just recycling bottles and cans. You really need to break down the behavior into those specific actions. Next, it's important to learn about the behavior.
We'll ask all the speakers to make their slides available.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that if they make it available.
In order to do that, you need to get out of the office and go talk to those in your target population. Too often, I think Ed mentioned this too, we kind of convey what works for us. What we need to know, what we
Yeah, actually, right now,
too often.
community-based social marketing, actually, Doug McKenzie Moore wrote a book called Fostering Sustainable Behavior. I think it's on the 3rd or 4th edition now, which provides you a lot more depth about the model. But personally, I do training. In fact, I'm doing a project right now with the Oregon Coast Aquarium, where I'm training a group of youth volunteers on how to use this process to develop their own program. So that's kind of a first. They're teenagers learning this process, but it is nothing in it. This is really just taking knowledge and tools that are already available, research methods, and some background about incentives and commitments, and packaging it into a framework that is usable for people who are trying to.
So you've got to really focus on bringing those barriers down. So you want to choose tools.
We'll hold the rest of the questions, but we'll save time for them at the end. Thanks so
Other
much.
behaviors may have lower barriers and higher motivation. So you can focus on using tools that enhance motivation. So that's one way that we can kind of guide our decisions about what tools we might use. Second is personal contact, and there's a whole different range of how personal contact works. We know that behavior change, if you see a trailer for a movie, you're probably less likely to see that movie than if your neighbor told you. So the closer you get to one-on-one contact, the more likely you are to change your behavior, but it's kind of a continuum. So personalized media, for example, it's personalized to you, is more direct than just a passive billboard or public service announcement. We also have a lot of tools that we draw in. I'll just kind of go through these quickly, but one is commitment. So we see these very often online with pledges. Making it easy. So commingled recycling, for example, is easier than having to separate it and has really had some nice effects in increasing recycling. Providing feedback about energy use, either individually or across a building or a town. Prompts, which are reminders about what to do. Sometimes that is the barrier, I forgot. And so a simple reminder can have nice effects. Contests are also another tool that are used. And social norms, which are very popular. This is providing information about what other people are doing or what other people approve of. So with all these tools, though, how do we know which ones to use? So what I wanted to make sure, I'm running out of time, but what I want to make sure that I share with you is that there are some strategies for that. So for some behaviors where you've got a lot of benefits, but the barriers are pretty low, simple strategies like education or providing feedback or reminders might work for you. In other cases, where especially if the benefits are really low and the barriers are really high, we're finding that things like incentives or contests, things that motivate people to do kind of one-time big actions, are more effective. So this is from a recent article, actually Wes Schultz in 2013, that really begins to provide a framework. So we can use community-based social marketing to kind of find out where we are in terms of barriers and benefits, and then marry that with the tools that are available and what we know about those tools. So community-based social marketing, just to wrap up, is a very versatile tool. It's data-driven at every step, so the information from our target population guides us in our decisions along the way, helps us to choose what tools are most appropriate. In this example, this is one locally near our office, City of Oceanside. They had a pet waste problem. And to the city, the problem was the law. Pick it up because it's the law, it's bad for your health. But when we talked to our target audience, they didn't pick up pet waste on this bike trail because of the social, or because they didn't have a bag, and they were more motivated by social responsibility or to prevent, to help protect water quality. So we kind of changed out the signs, made it a nice, simple, easy to remember message, made it look easy to do instead of this guy, which I don't even know, that does not look very comfortable at all. People didn't care that it was the law. So we simplified it and highlighted those messages that were important to them, but not just the message. We needed to also focus on the structural impacts and the other barriers. They needed a bag. So that's it. I know I'm out of time, but again, just tons of examples of successes in community-based social marketing. And now we're finally having some guidance for when to use these different tools. So, thank you very much.